What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video and to the channel. As you guys can see behind me here, I have both of my BMWs, and that is because in this video I wanted to talk with you guys about what it's like owning my two modified BMWs. Sometimes I'll take a step back and really look at where I'm at and what I'm doing and all that stuff, and it's pretty amazing that I have two cars in general. On top of that, they are two BMWs. On top of that, they are two pretty modified BMWs. So it's just pretty amazing, and I'm super thankful that I'm able to do this, have these two cars, modify them. I'm just super thankful that I have that opportunity, because I know a lot of people do not. Most people do not have two cars. Most people just have one car. Most people may not even have a car. So I am super thankful, and I just feel great, very grateful that I have had this opportunity. But yeah, anyway, like I said, the point of this video is to talk with you guys, give you guys more details, and give you guys sort of an overview of what it's like owning my two modified BMWs. So let's get into it here. So for those of you who may be new to the channel, I have two BMWs, as I mentioned, as you can see right here. I have a 2014 F30 335i in Alpine White on the left over there. And then I have a 2009 E90 328i X-Drive in Barbera Red Metallic on the right. And as you guys can see, and as I mentioned, I have done a significant amount of mods to both of these two BMWs. So aside from these two cars just being BMWs, in general, they are just two cars. So all the stuff you have to worry about with taking care of one car, you pretty much double. So that means double the car payments, possibly double the insurance, double the registrations each year you have to pay, double the cost of maintenance, double the cost of gasoline, depending how much you drive. So yeah, it's pretty much just double everything. So in general, the cost of having two cars is obviously going to be higher, and that is exactly what I have experienced since getting my second BMW. By the way, I got my E90 first, and then I got the F30 second. I got the E90 back in 2018, and I got the F30 back in 2020. So in general, just starting off with like storing my cars. Obviously, I can't drive both cars, so I have to store one of them and park it somewhere. And those of you who've been following the channel and pay attention to my Instagram, you guys know I park the second car, whichever it is, during that time right there in my driveway, my grandparents' driveway, and then I cover it with the car cover so that it doesn't get any sun damage or anything. And the little montage you guys saw at the beginning of the video where I pretty much just like switch cars, that is what I have to do every time I want to switch to another car. So it is kind of a process and kind of an annoyance whenever I have to switch cars. It's obviously not like the most annoying thing ever. It's just kind of like a hassle because it takes time, and on top of that, I have a lot of stuff in my cars that I need to keep in my cars. So like my cleaning supplies for when I wash the cars, my camera gear, and a couple of other things. I have to switch all of that over and put it in the car I'm going to be driving for the next week, and sometimes I forget stuff, so it's kind of a hassle because then I have to come back here and get it. But it isn't, that annoying. It's just kind of an inconvenience and kind of a hassle. Not that really big of a deal. I usually switch off cars once a week, so I'll drive one car for 1 week and then the other car for the next week. Every so often I'll keep one car for like 2 weeks, then the next 2 weeks I'll have the other car, so it's even. That way I just kind of split up the mileage in half for the year. I usually drive around 10,000 to 12,000 miles every year, since a lot of the stuff and all the places I go to are not that far from where I am, so I do not really drive that much. A lot of people think the F30 is my weekend car, so I drive that one less, but I pretty much just drive them the same amount. Like I said, I switch off once a week. So yeah, I think that is it for like, storing one of the cars and, having to switch off one of the cars so I drive. All right, so now moving on to the next and probably the most significant topic in regards to what it's like owning these two modified BMWs is how much does it cost to own and maintain these two BMWs? And as you guys can guess easily, both of these cars are pretty much just money pits. I spend a huge chunk of my income just on these cars. I literally don't spend any of my money on other stuff except like essential stuff for like living, like food, rent, water and, you know, just like essential stuff, nothing like extra. I don't spend on like fancy clothes or anything. If you guys have paid attention to my outfits in all of my videos, I wear like the same 5 outfits with different combinations, and they are like the most basic, you know, a t-shirt, some shorts, a hat, shoes, that I've had for a few years. So yeah, I do not spend my money on extra stuff. I just spend my money on my cars, as most car guys do. So just starting off with like the cost to own both of these two BMWs. Now, initially I did have 2 car payments when I bought the F30. I financed both, but I currently now only have 1 car payment, and that's the F30, since I just finished paying off the E90. So right now I only have just the 1 car payment on the F30, which is about $380 every month. But before that, the car payment on the E90 was $200. So in total for both car payments, when I was still paying off the E90, was $580. On top of the car payment, I have to pay for registration every year for both cars. The registration cost for both BMWs is about $500. So that's another $500 on top of the car payment, so that's already at $1,000. Now, insurance for both of these cars is about $200 to $250 a month for me. I have USAA, but from what I've noticed, USAA has pretty low rates, and recently, like, they've been lowering my premium because I guess once COVID started, like, there were less cars on the road, so less accidents, so they could lower the prices. So my insurance, my auto insurance, has dropped to about $200 every month, which is really good. And I haven't gotten any accidents or anything, so my record is pretty clean, and I don't have any like speeding tickets or anything, thankfully, yet. Now, moving on to maintenance costs for both of these two BMWs. So, as you guys know, BMWs are not cheap and not easy to maintain. They are luxury cars, they are performance cars, they are not really built for reliability like Toyota and Hondas. So I've spent a good chunk of my money on maintenance for these cars. But as you guys know, I do most of the maintenance myself, so maintenance isn't as expensive as it could be if I were to have like a shop do it. So far, both of these cars have been pretty reliable overall compared to some other people's experiences. I haven't had any major like parts fail or anything yet, just like smaller things like gaskets failing, the thermostat water pump failing, changing brakes, oil changes, changing, you know, bulbs that went out. Just simple stuff like that. So I haven't spent like the most that I could have spent if these cars weren't so reliable. So maintenance costs aren't too bad for me. There's some months where I don't really spend anything, and since I don't drive, you know, that often, I only do oil changes about 2 to 3 times a year combined for both cars. So I don't spend a lot, but when I do have stuff I have to replace, the costs are higher since the parts are more expensive. But as you guys know, I get all my stuff from FCP Euro, and they have pretty good prices, and they have the lifetime warranty, so if that part fails that you buy from them, you could just get it again, but for free under the warranty, so that's really awesome. In total, I've spent about $5,000 worth of maintenance on both cars combined over the last 4 years for the E90 and 2 years for the F30, which I don't think is that much, honestly, and that's doing majority of the work myself. There was a couple jobs I had a shop do, but in total, yeah, around $5,000 I've spent on maintenance, parts, and labor for both of these cars. So now moving on to probably the most costly part about owning these two modified BMWs, and that is all of the mods that I have done to these cars. The amount of money I've spent on mods for these cars is just a lot. I like huge, a lot compared to all of the other stuff that goes towards these cars. More than 50% of it goes towards the mods, obviously, since as we know, mods are not cheap. But at the same time, I do not regret any amount of money I've spent on mods for these cars, because it has been my absolute passion, and it has brought so much, you know, joy, happiness to me doing all this stuff to these cars. And honestly, I think I've done a pretty good job. I think these cars came out really clean, really nice. my unbiased, realistic opinion. I honestly think these cars came out really nice. So yeah, guys, the mods are easily the most expensive part about having these cars. I've spent around $12,000 on mods for the E90, and I've spent around $7,500, $8,000 on mods for the F30. So in total, that comes out to about $20,000, $21,000 in total worth of mods combined for both of these cars. But at the same time, that is the amount I've spent over the last 4 years for the E90 and 2 years for the F30. So it isn't all, in one short period of time. It's over a few years. So it's not like I went broke and I spent all my money on mods. You gotta, budget out, balance out your finances with the mods so that you don't just have zero money in your bank account. All right, so I moved into the F30 here because it is getting really hot outside and it's just becoming a little bit unbearable. And I'm starting to sweat and it's just starting to feel uncomfortable. So I'm in the F30 with the AC on now. So anyway, now I wanted to talk with you guys about the social aspect of having two BMWs. Now, as you guys saw, I have both an E chassis BMW and an F chassis BMW, an E90 and an F30. So what I've noticed since getting the F30, I've now become a part of two different communities within the BMW community, the E90 E chassis community, and also the F30 and the F chassis community. And honestly, I just think it's pretty cool to be a part of multiple communities within a community, because then you talk to so many more people and you're able to help out a lot more people than just if you were part of just one community. Back when I just had the E90, I would only talk to people who also had an E90. But ever since I got the F30, that quickly expanded, and now I also talk to people about the F30 and other F chassis BMW stuff. So yeah, I honestly just think it's really cool that I am in that position to be a part of multiple communities and help out more people across multiple communities, not just one community. Now, in no way do I think I am better than anybody because I have two BMWs and two different chassis BMWs. From what I can tell, a lot of people in the car community, not just the BMW community, anybody who has, like the more expensive, faster cars tend to kind of act like they're just all superior to anybody else who doesn't have as fast of a car or as expensive of a car. And honestly, I think it's kind of stupid that some people are like that, because they're just mean and just not respectful to the other people who have like the lower trim models or the less expensive cars. I mean, honestly, the way I see it is we're all at different points in our modifying car experience. Some of us are just starting out, others have been doing this for 10, 20 plus years and know a lot more. So yeah, we're all just at different points in our financial experience, our modifying experience, our just car owning experience. So I just think it's kind of dumb to like see yourself as superior or better than somebody who is just starting out. They're just starting out. What can they do? They're still learning. I just feel like more people need to just be nicer to each other, especially the people with nicer cars and more expensive cars. We all share the same passion, cars. Why not just help each other and teach each other and help each other learn and everything, so that we can all just enjoy this passion together and not feel so bad for not having the fastest car or a fast car or a more expensive car. We all are doing the same thing. Not all of us have a bunch of money to spend on cars as much as we would like. So yeah, I just feel like that needs to be corrected a bit within not just the BMW community, but the entire across all car model communities. Alright, so moving along to the last topic of this video. So the cool thing about having two different BMWs, two different cars, is that I get to have two different driving experiences. Now the driving experience between the E90 and the F30 is a lot different. The E90 I feel is more driver oriented, and you just feel more engaged with the hydraulic steering. It's just more stiff and you just feel more of the car when you're, driving quickly, driving through some curves and stuff. And then with the F30, it feels more electronic and not as engaging. The steering wheel feels a lot more loose, though it does get a bit more stiff when you change driving modes into the sport mode, but it still does not match the experience that you get from the E90. In addition, the F30 has a lot more power than the E90. The E90 is pretty slow for most cars on the road, and the F30 has 400 wheel horsepower, while the E90 has only about maybe 200 to 190 wheel horsepower. So there's a really big difference in power output, so that just contributes to the huge difference between the driving experiences. One feels more engaging but is not as powerful, while the other is not as engaging but is a lot faster and a lot quicker, and it's just more fun to accelerate with. So yeah, that is just another really cool thing about having two different BMWs. Now I know some of you may be wondering, which car do I like better, which car do I drive more? And as I mentioned, I really don't drive one car more than the other. I drive them pretty much equally. And I couldn't really tell you if I liked one car more than the other, because each car has things that the other car does not have. Most people would assume that the F30 is my preferred car since it has more horsepower, which sometimes I feel like it is, but at the same time, sometimes I would rather drive the E90 because, like I said, it just feels more fun to drive with the steering and the stiffness of the steering. The F30 kind of just feels boring because you can just only go in a straight line. That's when it's fun, is just when you're accelerating because of the horsepower. So I think that is it. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about and share with you guys regarding my two BMWs and what it's like owning them. As usual, if you guys have any more questions about stuff I didn't address in the video, you can always comment down below the video and I will respond to you there. Alright, so I think that is going to do it for this video. So in conclusion here, like I mentioned, both of these two BMWs, owning these two BMWs is quite a money pit. I spend a lot of money on these cars, and it is sort of an inconvenience to have two cars because you got to take care of two cars, two car payments, two registrations. You got to find a place to store it and park and all that stuff. And in general, it's just really cool to have two modified BMWs, as I mentioned. So yeah guys, like I said, if you have any additional questions that I didn't address in the video, feel free to comment those down below the video and I will answer you. I am very grateful, like I mentioned, that I am able to own two modified BMWs. I'm super grateful, super thankful. It is really an awesome opportunity. So yeah guys, like I said, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content like this. Also, feel free to check out my website at inlinetexauto.com for any sort of aftermarket accessories for your E90 3 Series or F33 Series. I'll leave a link down in the description of this video. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.